I'd like to call the December 11th regular council meeting to order. First is Shannon, will you call the roll, please?
Mr. Steele?
Here.
Ms. McFerrin?
Here.
Mr. Barr?
Here.
Mr. Scafidi?
Here.
Mr. Fury?
Here.
Mrs. Stoffer? Here. Mr. Belton?
Here. Okay, you all rise for the invocation and pledge of allegiance. Mr. McFerrin will lead us.
Heavenly Father, we come to you today asking for your guidance, wisdom, and support as we begin this meeting. Help us to engage in meaningful discussion, allow us to grow closer as a group, and nurture the bonds of community. Fill us with your grace as we make decisions that affect all of our residents and businesses and our dedicated city employees. Bless those away from us serving to protect our country. We ask these things in your name. Amen.
Amen.
I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, next on the agenda is the approval of the meetings, or the minutes of the last meeting, the December 4th meeting. Anybody have any alterations, additions, questions about?
I think there were some changes, I think.
Yes.
Some slight ones.
Correct. To Ms. McFerrin's report under miscellaneous. That was added and emailed back out to you guys.
Okay. We saw that, but I didn't see the changes. Okay.
It was Joanne's?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have any, are you fine with what you?
I'm fine with those, but she was talking about the other change, who asked the question about Mr. Steele if you were running for president, and you have it down as more Mrs.
Okay.
Stoffer.
I can make that change.
Actually, the question was if I was going to run for mayor. It was not
Oh, yeah.
the question about me running for president.
One of those two positions.
No president.
I would.
She was
That sounded
loaded.
like a nice cushy job.
Do you plan on running for president?
I could do as good
President.
as some of them have done.
President.
Probably better. Although I'm not, I wasn't born in the United States, so I can't do it. Sorry, guys.
Learn something new
Anything
today.
else?
So we lost you and Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, hey.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. What a shame.
Tuesday.
Hey, and I don't lift weights, so. Okay. So, do we have a motion to approve the minutes as
amended.
as amended?
I'll second.
Okay. Call the roll.
This is Mr. Barr and then Mr. Fury?
Yeah.
Sure.
Mr. Barr made the motion,
Yes.
yes.
Approve the minutes as amended. Mr. Fury seconded, I believe.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Mr. Scafidi?
Yes.
Mr. Bellin?
Yes.
Mr. Steele?
Yes.
Mrs. Stoffer?
Yes.
Ms. McFerrin?
Yeah.
Okay, next on the agenda is awards and presentations, which we do not have any tonight. Okay, we'll move on. Next is audience participation.
Yes, we have Mr. Baldwin.
Yes. Good evening, Council. Bruce Baldwin, 3310 Cannon Road, Twinsburg here. I want to thank you for considering the Roach House. I don't think a lot of them maybe don't realize how hard Historic Society works to keep the town, as good as we can. So I do want to thank you for that. And this March or April, I was concerned about Tinker's Creek Bridge and Route 82, how bad it was getting. And I thought the reason I came up there so you could consider that with a good time. Well, nothing's been done about it, but I don't travel Officer McTarian Road that much, but I know it was a little bit bad, but I know it was taken care of, and it's not as bad as the other two. I just can't figure what took precedent over a heavily traveled road, and now we can't do anything about it because of the time of the year. And one of the worst things, I should have come up here about this before, was on Cannon Road. If you leave Liberty, make a left-hand turn and go down, you have to come to 82 and make a left or a right. It's very hard to see up there. I've only seen one close call there, which is one too many. You got to pull out, and you pull out, and you're looking, but you can't look both ways at one time. And that's been bad for quite. Like I said, I probably should have been here before about that. That's definitely is an accident waiting to happen. I think that should have been taken care of. Well, I didn't bring it up, so maybe it wasn't considered. But I still can't fit. 82 just got worse and worse since I was here. It's not going to get any better. Now we can't do anything. You can't patch now. So, anyway, thank you for your time. Good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There is no one else signed up.
Okay. Council communication and committee reports. Start with Mr. Barr.
I have nothing this evening. None of my committees have met since last Tuesday. We hope to see everybody at the next environmental commission meeting in 2019. Thank you.
My committees have not met either.
My committees have not met since last week, but the Community Relations Committee will be meeting Thursday at 5 o'clock. That would be December 13th.
Mr. Bell.
The next Golf Advisory Board meeting will be held on Tuesday, January 15th at 6:30 p.m. right here in Council Chambers. And I found out earlier this evening that I will be part of the Architectural Review Board. I'm not sure what those dates
It
are, though.
meets the first and third Thursdays at 6 o'clock.
First and third Thursdays at 6 o'clock. Nothing further this evening. Thank you.
Mr. Scafidi.
Thank you and good evening, everyone. You know, we just got our new committee assignments, so I'm happy to say that I'll be back on the Finance Committee this year, Capital Improvements Board, and the BZA, Ed. So I will be representing the BZA Board, Board of Zoning Appeals, and they have no meetings scheduled as of right now that I'm aware of. So next time it's scheduled, I'll certainly be in attendance and I will report on it. Finally, seeing as this is our last meeting of the year, I just want to wish from my family to all of our Twinsburg families and all of our Twinsburg residents a very Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, no matter what you celebrate, and have a great holiday season, and we'll see you in January after the New Year. Happy New Year's to all, and that'll do it. Thank you.
Mr. Fury.
You forgot to tell everybody it's your birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
I don't think so.
Happy birthday, Sam.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
The Finance Committee will meet on 1/8 at 6:30 in Council Chambers. The CIC will meet on 1/15 at 5:30 in the jury room. We had a presentation this evening from the State Auditor's Office regarding performance audits. The city performed a performance audit in 2005 on 6 different departments, and it was a road plan that was used in the following years to get better efficiencies and save residents money. So there's some areas of concern that I'd like to investigate with council and the mayor's office and see if we can duplicate that as we continue to try to find those efficiencies and those cost savings. As Mr. Scafidi mentioned, I wish all of you a happy holidays and Merry Christmas and blessed time with your families in our break. So, thank you.
Okay. I was at the ARB meeting last week. They approved 2 different sign requests, and they also had a work session where they met with Pulte Homes to discuss the home designs that they're looking at for Hunter's Ridge, which is the back across from McTarian Parkway. Other than that, that's all it was. I have nothing else on any other committees. I will be at the Finance Committee meeting here. When are we doing that, Sarah?
It's the 22nd.
We have it scheduled for January 22nd at 6 p.m.
Okay.
January 22nd is fine.
Okay. That being said, Mayor?
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. A couple things just to talk about. One's going to be the Route 91 project is ongoing as we speak. There was paving that occurred today, and so if you drove in that area, there was a lot going on. So on December 17th is the date that we've been told that Meadowwood is going to be shut down at 91. So there will be no entrance or exit from both Ethan's Green and Meadowwood for probably about a 5 to 7 day period. There'll be detours, they'll be posted, and then it'll flip over to the other side that'll be open, so Ethan's Green will be open. Again, if you're traveling south, there will be no left-hand turns into Ethan's Green. You'll need to use the detour. But just watch for all that construction, be careful up there, especially as we get into these winter months, but they should have our base coat paved out and then flipped by, right before Christmas time. So I just wanted to give everyone a warning on that. A couple of things that happened around town. We had Breakfast with Santa this past weekend. That is always a great event. It sells out every year. Thanks to our Parks and Rec and our fire department for putting that on at our firehouse. Do a great job, and it's great to see all the little kids. I must say it was a lot quieter this year. I was there, and usually it's complete chaos and screaming and kids running around, but for some reason it was much calmer. So I don't know if that was before the syrup and the pancakes and all, but it was a really nice event. This weekend coming up, we have Shop with a Cop, and so our police department helps organize and participate in a very large effort to provide Christmas gifts for kids that need them. Last year we had the biggest number of 58 kids that we were able to sponsor and take and shop, and we partner with other police forces all around this area. So when you go to Stowe High School to meet to congregate, there's it could be 15, 20 different police departments. So it's really a neat event. This year we've got 78 kids that we're going to be buying gifts for. So a lot of resources go into this, a lot of time and effort, and I just want to thank them for what they do with that. And then lastly, I just want to, this is our last meeting of the year. I just want to thank council and department heads and all the staff here. It's been a long year. We've had a lot of challenges. We've had a lot of positive things happen. But the job that I do and the job that council does is a challenging one. Unfortunately, every single decision I think that whether they vote on or I try to make internally, there's always opposition on one side, and there's people want it on the other side. So I understand that there's a lot of emotions sometimes involved in these, but we've been elected to try to do what we feel in our heart is the best for this community, and it does. It becomes challenging at times because we hear from both sides, and we try to do the best we can. So I think that the work that was done this year by council and by the city employees and everybody was putting us on a path that we need to be on as we move into 2019. So I just want to thank them for their work, and I look forward to what we're going to accomplish in 2019. And that's all I have this evening.
Department head reports.
Yeah. Chief, are you reporting or not this evening? It's up to you. You showed up, so. He's always here.
Nobody else,
Good evening. Again, for the month of November, the fire department responded to 233 calls for service. And for the year, that brings us to 2,579 calls. And for the first time this year, we've fallen behind last year's pace. But if you recall, November of last year was a record year, a record month for us. In that we ran 337 calls. So just this 1 month alone, it's 100 calls less than last year. And hopefully we don't make that up in December. One of the notable events was on Thanksgiving Day. We had a fire at a residence on Ravenna Road. Fortunately, it was in the garage and was contained to the garage. We did have to rescue a number of pets that were taken care of, and the police department helped us with their care until animal control could take over, but fortunately no one was injured. I understand no pets were lost. I think that's still the case. There was a question about one of the cats, but fortunately, again, no one was injured. Fire prevention continues to complete their inspections in the township and the city. They completed 31 inspections in the month of November, and also worked on 3 different fire investigations, amongst other responsibilities and plans reviews, and 10 hours of public education, contacting about 630 people. We also completed 94 training events through the course of the month, totaling up almost 400 hours of training. On the 1st of December, all the weather warning sirens worked except for the one on Bavaria Road. That has since been checked, and we understand that it should be operational, and well, of course, we'll check it next month. And the Santa Run is this weekend on Sunday. The deadline for gifts to be in is tomorrow evening. The stack is getting pretty big. So if you want to participate in that,
You're up
tomorrow's
to
the
3?
deadline. I'm sorry?
You're up to 3 Santa Claus? I saw
There's
something.
only one Santa.
There's only one Santa, sir. What do you expect from that?
We have 2 on 1.
I'll let the cat out of there.
We're using 3 Santa Clauses, but we're doing 2
Helpers.
routes.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
Helpers.
Helpers.
some shift change in there, so we're
Two
trying to work
helpers.
around the demand for Santa. But that's not reflected.
Thank you, Shannon. Okay,
Do not-
mom and
let's
dad,
watch
please
this.
don't show this to your kids. Okay, we will now move on to legislation.
You guys thought I was the
I was
Grinch.
going to say a report.
Sarah's.
Oh, Sarah's report, I'm sorry.
I don't have final numbers yet for our income taxes because we get one more payment on Friday, but we are sitting at 22.3 million right now, which is where we ended last year. So year-to-date, we're up a little over 2%, so we're still on a good path. We did complete our implementation of our payroll system. It was about a 2-decade leap forward. So I want to space a special thanks to our payroll admins, Shelley and Angel and Karen and Jennifer, and then my payroll folks, Jennifer and Lisa. They really have spent countless hours. It was an 8-month process, so big thanks to them. And Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Holidays. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, now we'll go to legislation. Ordinance 108, 2018.
The temporary annual appropriations for 2019 approved by council estimates submitted by the mayor, providing for the ordinary expenses and other necessary expenses of the city of Twinsburg, Ohio during the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2019, and declaring an emergency.
I'd like to make a motion to declare ordinance 108, 2018 an emergency and place it on its 3rd and final reading. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Fury seconds. Is there any discussion?
The reason for the emergency is that with an ordinance, if we don't put this on emergency, it doesn't take effect for 30 days. We need this budget to be in effect for the first of the year. It's had 3 readings. It's a temporary budget this year that will lock down the first quarter spending, and then will have to be finalized with the county and state by March 31st.
Okay. Shannon, call the roll, please.
Mr. Steele?
Yes.
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Mrs. Stoffer?
Yes.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Scafidi?
Yes.
Ms. McFerrin?
Yes.
Mr. Bellin?
Yes.
Okay, ordinance 108, 2018 passes.
That's the emergency.
The emergency clause passes 7-0, sorry. Now I'd like to make a motion to adopt ordinance 108, 2018.
I'll second.
Is there any discussion?
No, I think this is again, an aggressive budget that's, helping us take steps toward, where we want to be balanced in the future. Again, it's, this has been a process we've been on since 2015, and I think, after we look at year-end numbers, if there's any other fine-tuning, but, thank for the work that has gone into this, and they'll get us hopefully started off in the right direction, and we can continue to work to make the changes that we need to make.
Okay. Shannon, call the roll, please.
Mr. Steele?
Yes.
Mr. Scafidi?
Yes.
Mr. Bellin?
Yes.
Ms. McFerrin?
Yes.
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mrs. Stoffer?
Yes.
Okay, ordinance 108, 2018 passes 7-0. Okay, next is ordinance 115, 2018.
An ordinance amending the current year appropriations for the general revenue account as established in ordinance 101, 2017, the appropriation ordinance for the city of Twinsburg for the year 2018, and declaring an emergency.
I'd like to make a motion to declare ordinance 1/15/2018 an emergency and place it on its third and final reading. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Ms. McFerrin, seconds. Is there any discussion?
The reason for the emergency is this is going to add $25,000 to salaries and $50,000 to overtime for the fire budget in order to let them complete the year balanced.
Shannon, call the roll, please.
Mr. Steele?
Yes.
Ms. McFerrin?
Yes.
Mrs. Stoffer?
Yes.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Scafidi?
Yes.
Mr. Bellin?
Yes.
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Okay, the emergency clause passes 7-0. Now I'd like to make a motion to adopt ordinance 1/15/2018. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mrs. Stoffer? Is there any discussion? Okay. Shannon, please call the roll.
Mr. Steele?
Yes.
Mrs. Stoffer?
Yes.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Ms. McFerrin?
Yes.
Mr. Bellin?
Yes.
Mr. Scafidi?
Yes.
Okay, ordinance 1/15/2018 passes 7-0. Next is resolution 119/2018.
A resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with the Legal Defender's Office of Summit County, Ohio to provide for representation of indigent defendants.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to adopt resolution 119/2018. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, is there any discussion?
This is an annual agreement that we process every year at this time to offer legal protection to those who can't afford it from our city.
Anything else? No? Okay, Shannon, please call the roll.
Mr. Steele?
Yes.
Ms. McFerrin?
Yes.
Mr. Bellin?
Yes.
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Mrs. Stoffer?
Yes.
Mr. Scafidi?
Yes.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Okay, resolution 119/2018 passes 7-0. Next is resolution 120/2018.
A resolution acknowledging council's receipt and review of the monthly financial statements submitted by the Finance Department for July, August, and September 2018.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt resolution 120/2018. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Barr? Is there any discussion?
This is an agreement that we do quarterly to acknowledge that we've received financial documents from the fiscal officer. Thank you.
Okay, Shannon, call the roll, please.
Mr. Steele?
Yes.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Bellin?
Yes.
Ms. McFerrin?
Yes.
Mrs. Stoffer?
Yes.
Mr. Scafidi?
Yes.
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Okay, resolution 120/2018 passes 7-0. Next is ordinance 121/2018.
An ordinance amending the current year appropriations for the general revenue account as established in ordinance 101/2017, the appropriation ordinance for the city of Twinsburg for the year 2018, and declaring an emergency.
I'd like to make a motion to declare ordinance 121/2018 an emergency and place it on its third and final reading. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, Mr. Fury seconds. Is there any discussion?
This is on an emergency for the same reason that the other transfers are. We need to balance the account for 2 enterprise funds before the end of the year. And in order to meet that previous 30-day notice, we have to put it on an emergency.
Any other discussion? Okay. Shannon, please call the roll.
Mr. Steele?
Yes.
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Mr. Bellin?
Yes.
Mrs. Stoffer?
Yes.
Mr. Scafidi?
Yes.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Ms. McFerrin?
Yes.
Okay, ordinance 121. Oh, excuse me. That was the emergency.
Emergency, right.
Okay, the emergency clause passes 7-0. Next, I'd like to make a motion to adopt ordinance 121/2018. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Joanne seconds. Is there any further discussion?
It's as an emergency, correct?
As an emergency, yes, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Shannon, please call the roll.
Mr. Steele?
Yes.
Ms. McFerrin?
Yes.
Mr. Bellin?
Yes.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Mrs. Stoffer?
Yes.
Mr. Scafidi?
Yes.
Okay, ordinance 121, 2018 passes 7-0. Okay, next is ordinance number 122, 2018.
An ordinance providing for the issuance and sale of $7,250,000 of notes in anticipation of the issuance of bonds for the purpose of paying costs of constructing, furnishing, and equipping a new clubhouse at the city's Glen Eagle Golf Club, including related storage, lighting, and drainage facilities, and clearing, improving, and equipping the site.
Okay, next is ordinance 123, 2018.
An ordinance establishing wage increases for the mayor and the non-bargaining unit employees for 2018 and declaring an emergency.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to declare ordinance 123, 2018 an emergency and place it on its third and final reading. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, Mrs. Stoffer seconds. Is there any discussion? Okay, this is basically so, starting the first of the year, our employees can get their pay raise. Since we're not going to have another meeting.
That's no retro.
Okay, so we don't have to pay retro, yes. Any further discussion? Shannon, please call roll.
Mr. Steele?
Yes.
Mrs. Stoffer?
Yes.
Mr. Bellin?
Yes.
Mr. Scafidi?
Yes.
Mr. Fury? Ms.
Yes.
McFerrin?
Yes.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Okay, the emergency clause passes 7-0. Okay. I'd like to make a motion to adopt ordinance 123, 2018 as an emergency. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Is there any further discussion?
The increase for the employees in the non-bargaining units in the mayor is 2%, which is in line with those bargaining units for the coming year.
Any further discussion? Shannon, please call the roll.
Mr. Steele?
Yes.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Scafidi?
Yes.
Mr. Bellin?
Yes.
Mrs. Stoffer?
Yes.
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Ms. McFerrin?
Yes.
Okay. Ordinance 123, 2018 passes 7-0 as an emergency. The final is ordinance 124, 2018.
An ordinance declaring that municipal property is no longer needed and authorizing the mayor to enter into a purchase agreement transferring ownership of the Chamber House to the Twinsburg Historical Society under certain conditions.
It's first reading, right? Okay. Okay, next on the agenda is unfinished business, new business, and miscellaneous business. Anybody have anything?
I just want to point out, since I'm new to the Planning Commission, that our next meeting is actually this coming Monday, December 17th. I believe it is at 6 o'clock. Ms. Collins, could you confirm, is that
I believe it is.
6 p.m. in our council chambers? And just Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, everybody. Hoping for a joyful, peaceful, prosperous 2019 for all of my friends, family, and neighbors.
Jeff.
Maureen?
I did have a couple of things. Shannon, I'm not sure, is the calendar of the January meetings, is that out yet for the boards and commissions?
I don't believe that that one's been put out yet for January. It typically will come out mid-month, but they list the whole year that I provided to council.
Oh, that's
You
right.
guys have it
Okay.
electronically and a
Yeah,
I believe.
I was searching.
Okay.
So now, thank you.
You're welcome. I can
Uh,
resend also.
No, I can look it up. I don't delete anything from my email. Next, I had a couple of things I did want to mention. I live on Lumen Lane, so you may have heard of the Lumen Laners, but this past week, they sent out these messages. So I'm over in Ethan's Green, and one of the messages was, would anybody be interested in baking for our fire and police department? And the women, all these people started responding, and it just sort of exploded. And so tonight, before the council meeting, a caravan of people came up, and they were driving around delivering cookies to the fire and the police department. It's just such a warm feeling, but I just love these neighbors of mine, so I wanted to give them a shout out and just, also let police and fire, let them all know our services, just how grateful we are for everything that they do. And another thing I wanted to mention was I teach 6th grade, and for the last grading period, Officer Greg has been coming into my class to teach the DARE program. And I sit there and, it's this time I listen. And I have to say, he just does a fabulous job. And the students adore him. They just, write little notes like, Officer Greg's the best. And I find these things. And I just wanted to reach out and just let the police department know, and really the rest of council, how valuable that program is in the schools and how grateful I am to it, and I know that the kids are too. And with that, I'd like to wish everybody a very happy holiday, and thanks again for everything. And that's all I have.
Ms. McFerrin.
I just have a couple of things. Before we had the snowfall, I did go over to the pavilion at the golf course, and I just wanted to commend the service department on the job that they did, learning how to put that flooring in. I know the product was supplied at no charge, and they did a great job. And I wanted to wish everyone a peaceful and joyful holiday season. Look forward to seeing everyone in 2019, and happy birthday, Sam.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thanks.
Mr. Bellin.
I had a question from a resident that I didn't know the answer to. In previous years, Christmas trees were collected in the golf course, and I know last year they were over at Liberty Park. Are we doing that again this year, Liberty Park?
We typically always collect them, but I know that some of our arrangements have changed with some of the product that we're able to offload in terms of our chipping. So I'll have to find out, because I know we used to have a nice trade going on with the individuals that we were supplying those the branch chips to exchange for mulch. But now I believe there's a cost for us, but it may still be something service we're providing for the residents, so I can find out.
Yeah, thank you. So I just wanted to take the opportunity to wish Mr. Scafidi a happy birthday. Also to wish everyone a very happy and safe holiday season and a very happy new year. Thank you.
Mr. Scafidi.
Thank you. I really have nothing further, but I do want to say one thing. Again, seeing as it's our last meeting, I wanted to mention not only the department heads that are here, Sarah, our finance director, our fire chief, and Shannon, of course, our clerk, who does a great job for us as well, and our law director, Dave Maestros. I think that these folks do a great job for us every day, day in and day out, as well as all of our departments. And it's those folks out there that make Twinsburg what it really is, and they make our jobs easier at times. We get calls from residents, and we have resources that we can go to, and they're great resources. And our safety forces keep our city safe, and our service department keeps our services running. And we all know that our wastewater department has a very important function in the city. So they all do a great job, each and every employee that we have on staff here in the city of Twinsburg. And it just makes me proud to be able to sit up here and represent this community, beside our residents. So we have great residents too. Some are more challenging than others, but and that's okay. That's why we're here. We're here to accept those challenges, and we're here to try to work out some of the issues that arise, and issues will arise. There's no doubt about it. We're all not perfect. And so it just makes me happy at the end of the year to go out and give a shout out to all of these folks that make Twinsburg what it is. And I just want to thank each and every one of them. And of course our mayor, I don't want to leave him out, the leadership that we have in the community. So thank you all for everything that you do. And I wish everybody a great end of the year and a happy new year. Thank you. That's it.
Mr. Fear.
It's better to go first than last. Dittos.
Yeah, right.
We have several members of the Historical Society here tonight that are curious of what the plans were for the Chamber House. And I think that there's unanimous support in council for us to work with you to transfer that over in the future. Again, if we could have done it earlier, we would have, but I don't see any reason that we wouldn't work with you on this as we have in the Riley House, and appreciate all you do for their community, and wish you all happy holidays. But again, I'm not as good as Graffiti, so it's his birthday, he's allowed to miss meetings.
I have one more thing.
I'll sit in here.
Ms. McFerrin.
It's hard to sing to you.
Well, I didn't want to forget to mention that A&M Restaurant is open for lunch and dinner Monday through Saturday and Sunday brunch. So if you have family in town or you're just tired of cooking, hope you'll stop by and try it out during the holidays.
Okay. I too would like to say hello to the folks from the Historical Society. We will get this done, I'm 99% sure. I want that house saved. It's been something that I think the mayor will tell you that I am kind of hot on keeping some of our history in our city. Okay. The second thing I'd like to say is Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Hope you all have safe holidays. This is winter. The roads are not going to be the greatest all through the winter. So not only during the holiday season, but the rest of the winter, please be careful on our roads. Okay, and the final thing I have to say is, Sam, you're still older than me. Thank you. Being
I
that,
am the oldest here.
Was there anyone else?
oh, sorry.
He
Excuse
becomes
me, I
president,
apologize.
he just takes over everything, doesn't he?
The mayor is.
So, just a couple comments. I'm glad the Historic Society members came out tonight. I want to thank them for the work that they did. I know we had a few meetings to discuss their acquisition. We had some things we were looking at from the Historic Society, and I want to thank them for what they provided and how they are going to work with the city. And I know that council's going to be supporting this so that we can maintain the building. There's a lot of work that's got to go into it, but I'm sure you guys have the know-how and the resources to do it. So thank you for doing that. And just from me and my family, just wish everyone a Merry Christmas and please have a very safe New Year. And I'll see you guys in 2019. That's it.
Mr. Maestros.
I do have something.
Uh-oh.
Say with the Historical Society, I've been involved in those meetings and they've been enjoyable to work with, but now they really need your donations. So go out and continue to contribute. Second of all, I've been asked by Mr. Campbell to get council's direction on where we want to go with the waste hauling contract. You guys aren't going to meet here till January, but if we're going to go out to bid, we need to prepare those specifications and start that process. It's a fairly lengthy process. We do have the option to renew a multi-year contract with our current provider, and I think you've been given that information. So I don't know if council's in a position or has any more questions, but we need to know sooner rather than later what direction we can go so we can start that process if we are going out to bid. It's going to take 6 to 8 weeks at least. So.
And just if I'm paraphrasing Mr. Campbell's note, it's his opinion that we should renew. Is that correct?
It is his.
For a variety of reasons.
Right.
Yeah.
And I support that opinion. I mean, I've been involved in multiple meetings with Waste Management. Besides the discussions that council's had with Mr. Campbell, I've had one-on-one discussions with Ben from Waste Management, working anything we can to try to keep this contract as low as possible. It is very, very likely that if we go out to bid that we will be paying more. And that's what concerns me. And we've had a good working relationship with them. And you start looking at, which I have, other municipalities, what the prices are per household as they go out to bid, and we're paying a really good rate. I know there's some concern over the recycling, but a lot of that is the processing. So they're still processing the same amount and trying to figure out what to do with the same amount. It's just they're only picking it up twice a month. So if council wants to move in that direction, it was a $30,000-$40,000 savings. I'm okay with that. All I can gauge is my personal household, and I'm willing to work with it. Council's going to have to give us some direction on that, but it would be my recommendation to renew, because I think it is pretty volatile right now. And if it goes out to bid, there's no going back. So council understands that. So if Waste Management comes in 30% higher and they're the lowest bidder, we're back with Waste Management and we're going to pay more than what we have right now.
I would like to chime in on that. I'd like to agree with Chris Campbell and also the mayor on that. And not only am I concerned with higher prices coming back, but I mentioned this at the last meeting. My real concern is that our routes are going to change. Our pickup days are going to change. You know, we're very fortunate this day and age. You don't see a whole lot of bids going out there where they'll pick up a community in one day. And we've talked with the haulers in the past, the last time we went out to bid, and nobody was willing to bid on this contract on a one-day pickup. They wanted to do multiple day pickups. Multiple day pickups may not seem like a big deal, but when you've got those vehicles coming in and out of your city 4 days a week, 5 days a week, and they're heavy, and they're on your roads, they're going through your neighborhoods, I don't think that's a good thing. As well as changing the routes. Your days of pickup will probably be changed to something else. And, you know, we're all a creature of habit for the most part. We're all used to having our rubbish picked up on Tuesdays. And, you know, if we've got to change to Thursday or Friday or Wednesday, you know, it just upsets everything. Sure, eventually we'd probably get used to it. But I just think that right now we've got a pretty good thing going. We've got all our totes in place. That is, if you recall, that was a pilot program. And that pilot program started in Ward 1. And it took off from there, and even at the time we had a lot of resistance to that. Several people didn't want the totes and they refused them, and you know, but I think that all smoothed out, and I think it's working very well. And I'm sure there's issues here and there with our trash collection, but for the most part they're responsive. The representative comes here and talks with us every so often, so I really think that we're in a good place, and I would support, you know, just extending that contract as Chris Campbell asked us to.
I would look, do we need to make any kind of motion, or we just?
No, if
Is it
that's a
okay?
consensus from council, what we will do is, you know, get a renewal contract and bring it to you for multiple readings so you can see it and evaluate whether or not you want to change the recycling pickup or not. But we have, we know we have time at that
The
point.
savings on the recycling was estimated at, what, 40 or 60?
40.
It's around
40.
40,000.
Yeah.
Because we pay $1.2 million a year to have trash picked up in Twinsburg right now. And this new agreement is a 4%, 3%, 3%. It's going to add about $140,000 to that number. So in 3 years, we're going to be paying, you know, basically $1.35 million for this, with a slight savings if we adjust our recycling. So, you know, that's why I was interested in trying to see what we could do to change the service, to see if we could reduce it. I was disappointed, to tell you the truth, as discussed with the mayor, that reducing recycling runs by 50 or 25%, or 50% actually, is just a very light, slight savings as opposed to more significant. But, you know, this is a major expense, and it seems to have gone up more quickly in the last few years than it did, because it was always around 1.1, and now we're bouncing up pretty quick. So those were my concerns.
I'm just happy that at this point that we're, you know, not like in a lot of other communities where they bill the residents for their trash service. We've been able to keep our costs down all these years, and we've been able to absorb that cost and pay for it on behalf of our city. So I hope that that continues, and that's why I'd like to support this, that we continue to go on with waste management and make sure that that doesn't change for all of us.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you.
I think we should go ahead with the renewal. I like the fact that we don't pay for our garbage pickup. I think it's one of the bright, shining reasons why we live in our city. It's one of those things that we do for all our residents, and I think we should continue to do that. Okay.
I think that's it. Sorry to switch all the festive talk to trash, but, you know, it happens sometime. So with that, I think we're done over here.
Back to Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays.
Please be safe going home.
Happy trash day.
Thank you.
We're adjourned.
All right.
Yeah, all right.
And thank you for coming.